This illustration still deals with extension cords, but we're reviewing the sections 240.5B3 along with 400.10A10. Now, notice I might have 10 outlets, duplexes, on a 20 amp circuit. Now, a duplex has 2 plug-in areas. So that would allow you to plug in 20 things. And then if you're at a desk location like this, and you use a cable, you relocate a power tap, and you're relocating it. We used to call these temporary power taps, but UL renamed them because you can plug them in or relocate them somewhere else. But notice the one you see there, if you count, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 openings that you could plug something in. Now, that's plugged into a duplex receptacle. If you had 10, that's 20 openings there. So do you see, just by a quick count, how many things you might plug into a 20 amp circuit? And that's why the code says if it's a continued use, you're not to load the overcurrent device greater than 80%, because anything that you're using continuous, you have to multiply by 125%. But here we don't know during the day, everything you see there may be plugged in, some of it used continuous, some of it not. But it's a good rule of thumb. Electricians just say, well, when I put an amp probe back at the panel on the branch circuit that has all these outlets on it, am I within 80%? Am I within 20 amps? Or am I a little over 20 amps and overloading that circuit? Now, 70B and Chapter 17 says that if you're a maintenance electrician, that's how you check it. And you want to make sure that you don't allow so many outlets on a circuit and allowing items to be plugged in that it will trip it. Now, many times a man or woman will take and plug in a little heater to that temporary power tap or relocatable type power tap, or they'll plug into the receptacle. And sometimes them little old heaters can pull anywhere from 6 to 10 amps. You're overloading a circuit real quick, but if that circuit happens to be an isolation circuit for computers and sensitive electronic equipment, you plug in a little clock, a little heater, and you're just going to mess that circuit up and create all kind of problems for the operation of the sensitive electronic equipment. So 70B and Article 340 of 70E gives the guidelines to determine when this can be a problem. And that's why maintenance electricians, 70B, NFPA 70B as in boy, is their Bible, just like the NEC is a construction or designer's Bible. So sometimes, I'll be talking to maintenance people and they say, why in the world would I have to know the NEC? I'm a maintenance electrician. Well, if you're dealing with circuit breakers, you have to know Chapter 17 of 70B, or replacement. For example, 70B, if I'm changing out a breaker that's defaulted in some way, 70B refers me to 240.85, and it says check the system, electrical system, to see how it's grounded. If it's a grounded, solidly grounded system, you can use a slash mark breaker, 120, 208, 240, 277, 480, whatever it may be. So, but it warns you that you only can use a straight breaker, 240, 480, on any system, but you can only use a slash mark breaker, 120, 240, 208, or a 120, 208 or 240, as I mentioned, or 277-480, they can only be used on a solidly grounded system if they are slash mark, as I just mentioned. And then your frequency checks on circuit breakers to see if heating problems have occurred is in 70B. And if you're a maintenance electrician, I would recommend that you either review our work on 70B, starting at the substation, bringing the power to the building and all this different equipment that's in Annex K and Annex L of 70B. We go through that with you. And we cover the stuff that you actually need to know. But you don't have to look at our 70B, look at anybody's. But I would review 70B that deals with the work that I perform and the type of task I perform. Now right here, you got to be very careful. You review the circuit. Is it an isolation circuit, or is it just a general purpose type circuit, 2 or more outlets on it? Is it just receptacles? Is it receptacles and lights? As a maintenance person, the Annex L says, supposed to know this, and it'll send you to the section that deals with your subject. Your subject here is receptacles, so it's article, chapter 24 of NFPA 70B. So you need to know the NEC well enough to know that if you're working and changing out a receptacle, that NFPA 70B will send you to Article 406. Is it a single receptacle, duplex? Is it AFCI? Is it GFCI? 70B will send you to the other sections that you need to look at. Our work does that for you so that you know the NEC, not the NEC loops all the time, but the 70B loops. And all you need to know about the NEC, if I'm changing out a switch, then Chapter 24, 70B sends you to Article 404. Is it a single pole switch, double pole switch? What type of switch is it? Is it a dimmer? What are you dealing with, see? So keep that in mind if you're a maintenance electrician. You need to know 70B and the chapters to deal with the equipment and the tasks that you're performing for your facility. So you just need to know the NEC well enough to know how to change out 101 when it's existing. So this illustration is illustrating extension cords when used in accordance with 240.5B as in boy 3 and 400.10A as in apple 10.